Hi, welcome. I am looking at my notes as I review clips from Saturday's preseason friendly between Gateshead and Newcastle at Gateshead. For starters, evidently the proceeds from the event went to the home side, which was a nice testimony about the relationship between the two sides and respect. Newcastle, having been acquired by a multi-billion-dollar organization, can afford donations like that. So very proud of the team that we were aware of that. A lot of the starters that we expect during the middle of the season took the day off, but we did see a nice mix of veterans and new guys. And you know what? Yeah, it really boils down to the depth of a team. And going into the Champions League, you may see some of the younger players, especially at the beginning stages of the European Championship, or what you call the UEFA Champions League figure. And I think Elliot Anderson is one of those.
Just joining us. Let's go on the screen on our YouTube screen. Now, long stuff.
Really good touch, threading the needle. Not so good finish, but we will say it's preseason. I think that when I saw this live, or a take of the more extended highlights, it clearly looked like Sean Longstaff was beside himself, happy with receiving that ball. And although he didn't finish it the first time, I don't think he was giving it his full effort. I think this was more of like a beachside friendly, like you're out with some friends and family celebrating. And that was good to see that the boys were relaxed. It is important that as we develop an understanding of this team and its identity, one thing that I've noticed over the past couple of years is togetherness. So they're not going to shame one another. And this is a perfect example where it was understood that Longstaff received a beautiful ball. It was understood that this was a good opportunity to finish, but he wasn't going to kill himself over this. And it was, in fact, obvious as he got a second chance on the goal. He tapped it very gently, as though this was a little game he was having with his kids. And I took that to heart. I think Sean Longstaff wasn't going to be hard on himself visibly, publicly, but I know that he learned something from that. And in other words, mental focus. He knows that he can expect some amazing balls, and that's something that as a starter he's going to have to get used to. Into the eighth minute we go, and we see the opponent take its first. I think so. Again, in the course of watching this particular scene, amongst a larger set of clips or a longer, time frame, the build up and the play around that was again in an informal setting. So I think while it looks bad that Dan Burns' first touch, especially on replay, was to blame for this situation, what I noticed is that his co-defender could have done a better job of communicating. And then, more importantly, you'll see later in another clip, again, same situation, they weren't communicating well. It was incumbent on the second defender, not Dan Byrne, to be square. So to receive a square ball there, I think is what Dan was expecting, someone to open up for him. And because he didn't open up, he had no option other than to, communicate with confusion. So not all on Dan Byrne. I'm chalking it up to preseason beach style soccer. The bad touch is misleading because the other defender should have been square to receive that and open it up. And I think it's a tribute, of course, to Dan Byrne that this guy was intimidated by playing next to him, and obviously that showed he wasn't being himself. And over time, that has got to change. You got to get used to playing with the first team, and again, going to Europe, you're gonna be everybody's gonna be, important and ready to play.
Pressure. Still under pressure. And manages to pick out Longstaff.
Yeah, what's telling about this particular video really was the amazing presence of mind there of basically the setup from Elliot Anderson. He knew where he was going with the ball, such that you almost forget about him in this play because you know that it was Longstaff using his stature and calmness just like Saint Maximum using his physical presence to protect the ball, create space, effectively deflects the ball from Longstaff is what this guy does, Elliot Anderson, and knocks it right down the right touch line for a beautiful service. And I think it happened so quickly that while I want to blame the finishing, I think it's possible that again, because it's preseason, there wasn't enough focus. But you would have expected, when you're gifted a ball like that, to do better. So Jamal Lewis for me is to be reprimanded on that. Thank you. Elliot Anderson was too strong for the defender in that position. You give him the ball in the 18, and I have confidence in him. Look, we're about 4 segments into this, and St. Maximin has been in every opportunity. So whether it was building, creating chances, or just being involved, in these highlights, I mean, this is all the St. Maximum show. You'll see that he is a really, really consistent producer as this video segment continues. Yeah, it's a good example of poise. The Newcastle players created a chance. Again, they were resolute with the ball. They didn't give it away. They took advantage of the opportunity. But what is clear to me as I review these plays is that St. Maximum is involved, but more importantly, his ratio of goals per chance seems to be high. And I think his self-awareness of that speaks phenomenal to me about his intelligence. I don't want to contrast players of different positions, but if Elliot Anderson is able to compose himself a little bit more and understand that if you have a chance, you have to take it, I think he can improve his ratio of chances to goals. Because if he had improved his to the extent that St. Maximum had at this game, we would have been winning 4-2. That's as simple as that. All right. Yeah, so this play left me a little anxious. Look, St. Maximum did a lot of work, effectively covering half the length of a football field. And when Anderson finally gets involved in the play in a fairly wide open position, his impatience really shows and doesn't do credit to the teammate. Now, I finished this broadcast earlier in the day at segment 1 and 2 where I said the players were effectively showing grace. They weren't shaming each other, and it's this notoriety that they have. They're together through everything, and they don't complain. This is uncharacteristic Newcastle, but it's Elliot Anderson. He's a little bit of a hot-tempered guy, and you need somebody like that on the team. I'm a lot like that. But I'm also patient because, look, it's not going to change things if you didn't receive the ball. You have a conversation with him earlier. I was there. You plead with him. But when you complain, you're gonna basically distance yourself from St. Maximum. He was already doing most of the work. He was the one who created the opportunity. You complained and then you missed. I'm going to tisk you, Elliot. I love you as a player, and you're a good finisher. You're strong. You got a good touch. Okay? You need to work on your agility a little bit and patience, okay?
Little open and yes. Okay, 2 problems now.
Yeah, so on that particular play there, Again, we're looking at a persistent connection there between St. Maximum, who seems to have patience with these outbursts from Elliot Anderson, and that's good. That's leadership. That's what your big brother would do to have patience with you. He doesn't have to, but he does. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit here. St. Maximum, very patient. He plays at his own pace, and his chances will come. He's experienced. He knows Elliot Anderson has some room to grow and time to grow. So what happened? Anderson had the ball. He's fairly open. Now, there's two things that could have happened there. He could have dribbled a little bit more and taken a shot. Instead, uh, basically, he turned to his right into the defender, and well, we all know what happened. He could have tried to get by the defender, but instead he shot. So what am I thinking? He's timid in terms of shooting with his left. Now, that was the logical first play, okay? He received the ball in space. His only shot was from the left foot. You take the shot from your left foot, you're going to work out that in practice, and you finish it. Instead, you dribbled into the defender to your right to favor your right foot. It was an easy play for the defender. Again, if you'd had a little bit more agility, you'd have tried to go right for the goal, dribble it right across the goal line. There was that much space in front of you. Instead, you turned into the defender. So I'm a little upset there. Anderson's shown me 3 times there that he didn't finish. Okay, the ratio of finishing has to be higher. I've said that.
Wanted to put on a performance here today.
Watch Dan Burns run, opens up the space for the little rookie. The little rookie with a beautiful pass over to another little rookie, and that's it. The game winner. Experience and rookies.
Something there. The husband and yes. From Elliot Anderson. Okay, problems now.
Yeah, so on that particular play there, again, we're looking at a persistent connection there between St. Maximum, who seems to have patience with these outbursts from Elliot Anderson, and that's good. That's leadership. That's what your big brother would do to have patience with you. He doesn't have to, but he does. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit here. St. Maximum, very patient. He plays at his own pace, and his chances will come. He's experienced. He knows Elliot Anderson has some room to grow and time to grow. So what happened? Anderson had the ball. He's fairly open. Now, there's two things that could have happened there. He could have dribbled a little bit more and taken a shot. Instead, basically, he turned to his right into the defender, and well, we all know what happened. He could have tried to get by the defender, but instead he shot. So what am I thinking? He's timid in terms of shooting with his left. Now, that was the logical first play, okay? He received the ball in space. His only shot was from the left foot. You take the shot from your left foot, you're going to work out that in practice, and you finish it. Instead, you dribbled into the defender to your right to favor your right foot. It was an easy play for the defender. Again, if you'd had a little bit more agility, you'd have tried to go right for the goal, dribble it right across the goal line. There was that much space in front of you. Instead, you turned into the defender. So I'm a little upset there. Anderson's shown me 3 times there that he didn't finish. Okay, the ratio of finishing has to be higher. I've said that.